Hi y'all, I'm Allison. I am so excited because today we are going to proceed to the third stop in our start and stop buddy read of Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. This has been so much fun so far, and I cannot wait to find out what's going to happen today. I have a feeling we're going to be in for another wild ride like we were last time. Now, of course, before we go any further, I have to give the warning of spoilers are coming because we are trying to solve this case before the panel of 6 experts do. Which means if you have not reached page 207 in the paperback of 464 pages, or page 211 in what I assume is the 480 page digital version, and our magical part of the transcript with Shirley Booker speaking, well, it can hardly have helped. I know Luke did offer ... So, if you have not reached that point, then sadly I must ask you to close your eyes, cover your ears, and proceed on back out the door until you catch up to us in the book, because we don't want to ruin it for you. And this is so much fun. And also, I have to state, I'm jealous of y'all that are reading the audio version. I believe it's Teresa at Sweet Tea Reads and Pagey Girl are both doing the audiobook as they read along with their physical copy. And it's a whole cast of characters. Apparently, every single person in here has a different narrator. And I will definitely be getting the audio version of this for a future reread, provided that the end doesn't really anger me, which I can't see that happening. So I want to experience the audio version as well. Okay, let's see. Where were we? So we found out Luke is not Luke, and definitely everyone agrees the two girls, the sisters, are hiding something. And it's got to be more than, possible recreational drug use back when they were in high school, as Casey was saying, because, they're not necessarily going to be scared of that getting out 20 years later. So there's got to be more to it than that. And I still think that that's a plausible reason why Mitchell was actually there instead of, responding to the police scanner. I think he had some other reason for being there, and maybe Luke was aware of it and he was heading out towards the back house. Maybe. We don't know. There are a lot of theories. Although there's one thing we all agree on. The police flubbed this case just like on epic portions. So I think there's got to be some kind of a cover up somewhere, because there's no way. They had to have realized Luke wasn't Luke. That would come out as, I can't remember, was it Carol? Yeah, Carol was like, we're having a really hard time with the fact that the police didn't even notice that. And I agree. You would think, on some, they had to have known, right? Couldn't have flipped it that badly. So I suspect there's a conspiracy, which I know I keep going back to it. That could be what the message was at the very beginning between Alan and Peter, which were, one of them's the current investigator on the panel, and one was the lead investigator at the time of the case, I think. So I suspect there's a cover-up somewhere. Why? There's no telling. Maybe that's, Caroline's mysterious lover with the red car. Maybe they had ties to the police force or so. There's so much. And I want to know about Layla's past in Australia. Was she the girl that Luke left when he originally left Australia because of the hit and run? Because he did have a long-term girlfriend that he was going to move in with. Is that Layla? I'm just grasping for anything. The more out there it is, it's like, that's got to be it, right? So I think we are definitely going to find that everybody on the panel was chosen for a reason. Now, whether Guy's the one behind that or not, I don't know, but I think it was Michael and Jackson were saying, one compared this to Clue, and one compared it to saying that Guy was out there pulling a Kevin from Home Alone, and he's the one who got Luke. I love it. But as Lily wants in, All right, I think she was trying to tell me it's time to stop speculating and actually get into the book to find out what's going to happen next. By the way, keep the comments coming. I am having so much responding with y'all and seeing y'all talking back and forth with each other on your theories. It just takes this up 10 more levels, and this is a fun book to begin with. So let's go into the living room, get settled in, and find out what's going to happen today. I'm so hyped. Okay, I can finally start reading. I'm going to backtrack just a little bit to find out, just to find my place again. So I guess Layla was interviewing Shirley Booker, and I don't remember who she was. It was a long interview of her. Oh, okay, Shirley was Caroline's roommate when they first moved to London. Okay. And Caroline kept her life really compartmentalized. So she had confided in Shirley a little bit more than she did with people that she saw on a regular basis, because she only talked to Shirley a few times a year, if I remember correctly. Okay, so Shirley did reveal that all three of Caroline's children couldn't stand Luke, well, fake Luke. Okay, and Maura was hanging around with the wrong crowd to presumably get back at her mom. Okay, so Maura was definitely acting out this summer that Luke died. There was a lot of tension in the family. She did get her kids in counseling, which seems to have caught Layla off guard. And damage had been done at the girls' school. Caroline had to pull a lot of strings to keep it out of the press. And whatever happened at the school, that's what made Caroline finally start therapy for the kids, that made her realize she no longer had a choice. That the school forced the therapy, or they weren't going to allow the children to attend. Well, I would assume it would just been one of them. Okay, wow. So I didn't remember all of that from, I think I was just caught up with the reveal of fake Luke and all of that. Okay, so Caroline's love life is a little web to unravel. So apparently she was having an affair, and she was getting close to calling it off. And the person she was having the affair with was more than likely married as well. But according to Shirley, it didn't seem like Caroline ever intended to leave Luke or anything for this mystery man. In fact, she was on the verge of calling it off when Luke was killed. And apparently she has a pattern of getting involved with somebody completely unsuitable, because she was mixed up with somebody unsuitable when she first met Shirley back in college as well, that our parents had shipped her off to her uncle's house to get away from some guy that she shouldn't be with. And Caroline wanted to make sure her daughter didn't make the same mistakes, talking about Maura. So, all right, it's getting, I'm starting to get the sense of what's going on with all of this. So Shirley knew that Luke wasn't Luke. So, yeah, Shirley's son knew right away Luke wasn't who he claimed he was. His accent was terrible, and he didn't know the surfing lingo that he should have known. Oh, and Caroline laughed. She didn't care. She didn't care if he was 26 from Australia or 37 from America. Didn't matter to her. Okay, so according to Shirley, that wouldn't have been a motive for Caroline to kill him. Hello, Finley. Hugo Fraser, he hasn't had much of a part until now, has he? He's the one that I got the sleazy vibes from at the beginning. So I wonder if there's some significance to the fact that the woman who ended up getting Luke's grandparents' inheritance. Had one child, Ian, born in 1977. Keep saying 77. It's the same year that Luke was born. The real Luke. So the Wilsons had, according to Sylvia, who worked at the nursing home with Luke's grandmother, the Wilsons were non-entities until the grandmother passed away. Florence, that's her name. And it seems like they were pretty greedy, even wanting the jewelry that was left to Sylvia. So, I wonder who they really were, or rather how they ended up getting Florence's estate. That's 4 million, well, pounds, but that's a lot of money. I will say this, Hugo did do a good job interviewing her. He didn't come across sleazy while asking her questions, so I was surprised to see, though, that Florence really liked Luke, as did Sylvia. I guess he seemed to be genuine, although she refused the DNA test. And that's right. Peter was the one. Peter Lachelle, is that how you say it? He was the one who was supposed to be questioning the Wilsons. I still say Peter and Alan. There's something there between the cops that they're something's not on the up and up there. So Hugo didn't like Bill offering to see if he could get a little bit more information out of Peter. So it's cop to cop. Okay, so Ian Wilson, who stood to inherit, or did inherit, after Luke's grandmother passed away, he would have a motive for murdering Luke. But they were never seriously considered as suspects. They weren't charged. So I have no idea where that's gonna pan into anything. Okay, so they think they found the hit and run victim, but there's nothing really telling in the information for now. But Tarek is still working on it. Who is he? He's part of the production crew, right? Going back to the beginning of the episode. Oh, I don't see his name listed there. I forget who Tarek is. Yeah, we'll just wait and find out when he comes back with some information. Okay, so they're gonna do some DNA testing on Luke's jacket and, well, his clothes, and some hairs that were in the zipper of his jacket that they have ruled out as being Luke's themselves or Caroline's because of the hair color and being that it's undyed virgin hair, if you will. So it's a serial imposter. Who was it? Somebody said, joking, that there would be a third identity. I think it was Michael. I think Michael was just joking around, and it looks like Eric Fullerton wasn't really Eric Fullerton. We've got somebody who just jumps from identity to identity. Okay, so somebody just got a passport in Eric Fullerton's name. So the real Eric Fullerton might still be alive, right? If he wasn't actually in Beirut with the bus bombing. Okay, yeah, he's probably already dead, and that's why somebody used his name for a passport. So now we have a connection to New York and Bill. Okay, so the episode just ended, and let me see if I can wrap my head around this. So, not Luke is actually not Eric, too. So, Eric was from a small town in Alabama, ends up moving to New York because he's actually gay and it would be a better environment for him, be more accepting. But something happens to Eric and he ends up dead. then whoever, not Eric, not Luke is, finds out that Eric's identity is available, steals that identity, ends up in Beirut on the bus that got bombed with Luke Ryder, and then he assumes Luke Ryder's identity before going to England and ended up marrying Caroline. I think I've got my head around that right. And it turns out Luke probably hit Muhammad Khan as a result of that drunk driving incident. Muhammad was like 19, and he did in fact die from that wreck, that hit and run. So we still don't know who Caroline was married to. And it's kind of hard to figure out why he died until you know who he was. Because, you know, the key players keep changing. You know, the motive would be different depending on if his identity was known or not. I don't know. And then there's the whole will aspect. Ian Wilson and his mother were pretty, I guess, ruthless in making sure that they got everything from Luke Ryder's grandmother as far as the will, even going as far as to try to get the jewelry that was left to the home care provider. So it's getting more and more involved as we go. Okay, let's see what all the notes are after all of their interactions behind the scenes after the episode aired. Okay, so Alan's wanting to reach out to the NYPD. He's asking his contact at the Met Police Department and confirming, that the case isn't as straightforward as it initially appeared. So I think that the police were definitely covering something up. They probably figured out the stolen identity angle, and there must be something huge at play on that to cause them to cover up the investigation. That's my assumption at this point. Okay, so Hugo is writing to Serena, which I assume is maybe a sister. They're talking about Dad's birthday. So thanks for understanding about the other thing. Like I said, it's no big deal. I just want to keep things simple. So I would assume that's going to tie back into something. It's showing that Hugo may have an angle that he's trying to hide as well. And Bill reached out to NYPD, keeping them in the loop, I guess, on what was discovered, maybe telling them that, hey, we found the connection back to New York with Eric Fulton. Fulton was his name. And from Mitch to Lila. Okay, so Lila's married name is Khan, but according to her, it's really common. So maybe there's not a connection there to the hit and run victim between Lila and the victim. She's saying that Mitch has handled it really well. He's the only one outside the family touched by it personally. Can't be easy having it raked up after so long. Just hope it can give both of you and the Howards some closure. So is that just referring to the fact that he was arrested on the night that Luke was killed and detained for 6 hours? Or is there something else that's going to come to light? I'm curious. And something made Lila reach out to call Mom. I have no idea where Karachi is. So maybe she was lying. Maybe she is related to Muhammad. I don't know. The plot thickens. So we're on episode 4. Oh, okay, cool. I do like the TV or the newspaper articles that give you a rundown, like a recap of what happened in the show. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so the fire at the school is why the kids had to be in therapy or risk expulsion. That makes a lot of sense. I wonder what prompted the fire, what happens. Yeah, and apparently the girls have some dirt on Guy as well, and they may be planning to reveal their brother's dirty laundry now that their own has been aired. Ooh. Okay, here's something in the chat room talking about how the Nevada woman, Kathy Augustine, The husband had injected her with a paralytic called Succinil. I'm not even gonna attempt the name, but it's only used in hospital settings, so it's hard to get a hold of. But he was a nurse. If you don't know what to look for, it can look like a heart attack. Andrew died of a heart attack, supposedly. So what if he wasn't, in fact, what if he had been injected with this drug? Because they said it's almost impossible to trace at autopsy because it metabolizes quickly after death. Okay, it's just the plot keeps getting thicker and thicker. This is one of those, the more you look, the more you can find. So I'm gonna go for the ride at the moment. Otherwise, I'm gonna twist myself up into a headache. Okay, so we're getting on to episode 5. I so would watch this TV show. It was just, I want to hear the audio on this. I bet it's just incredible. Ooh, Samara was kind of lightening up in her thinking about not Luke, because if nothing else, he did make her mother happy now that she looks back on it. And she absolutely refuses to talk about therapy, which, considering that this is, present day when they're interviewing her, so 2023, it's not like there's a stigma with going to therapy or anything like that. So something must have happened within therapy that they just do not want to come out. Okay, so Eric Fulton, after he died in New York from a hate crime, his identity was stolen and used to swindle an older lady, Rose, out of $800,000 and several pieces of heirloom jewelry. Okay, so Bill just finished questioning Christine, interviewing her about Ian's alibi on the night not Luke was killed. Ian being Ian Wilson, the one who was going to inherit from Luke's grandmother. So at the conclusion of this interview, Bill says that, they can take Ian out of the equation for now. It seems like his alibi is pretty sturdy. And then Alan, under his breath, says, thank Christ for that. So apparently there's something with that, with Ian, that the police don't want known. Something between Mitch and Hugo and the owner of the red car. Okay, so Tarek is one of the behind-the-scenes guys. Whoa, so Caroline apparently had a C-section before she got married to Andrew. And a guy didn't know about it. That is pretty low, considering that he's the director. Nobody even gave him the courtesy of a heads up before it was aired on TV. So there's an older child out there somewhere. Okay, so Alan's irritated with the producer, because he doesn't appreciate them being ambushed and being made to look like fools. Which I would agree with him on that. I would be upset too. Although Bill doesn't seem to agree. The sisters, they didn't like Shirley, that's for sure. So I wonder if they're thinking that they just wanted to keep the fire and everything out of the show, if that was what they were trying to hide. Oh, so Nick and Tarek have another bomb waiting to go off on the crew, or the experts, or they found something else to blindside them. Episode 5. Oh wait, first we got the newspaper report. Okay, now actually we're on episode 6. That was the wrap up of 5. Wait, the red car. It said that there was a woman who owned one that loaned it to her brother, and there was a text about Dad's birthday to a sister. Was that Hugo? And thanks for your understanding about the other thing. Like I said, it's no big deal. I just want to keep things simple. I bet it was Hugo. I bet Serena's the one who owns the red car. I bet Hugo was the one having an affair with Caroline. What do you think? Or maybe it wasn't even an affair. Maybe he was there for some other reason. But I'm betting the car will link back to Hugo. Going on record with that. So Eric was arrested for sought as a perpetrator, considered a flight risk, armed and dangerous, domestic, charged with theft or fraud. Oh, okay, that was after taking Rose's money, so that wasn't the real Eric. Oh, dang it. Cliffhanger. So Bill knew that Eric Fulton was an assumed identity as well, but he withheld that information from the panel. So that kind of puts, everybody's kind of got their own, everybody's hiding something. They're all connected to this case in one form or another. So that, again, you don't know, are we investigating the experts? Are we investigating the case? There are so many layers that I don't even know where to go. I think I'm gonna leave the speculating up to y'all this time. I don't know. It's so layered now that I have no idea. I'm just kind of along for the ride. I do think Hugo's the one with the car. I think that's his connection. I think it's his sister's car. Layla, we still don't know what her past is from Australia. Alan and Peter, I think there were definitely... There's just so much to go through. I feel like I keep repeating myself. But it was a shocker to find that Caroline had another child at possibly the age of 16. Now, I don't think that child would necessarily have anything to do with Luke being killed, but you don't know. I think that was put into the show by Nick as just a shock value for ratings and whatnot. I think Guy's getting blindsided. In fact, the Guy's gotten blindsided a lot. And his sisters have alluded to there's something that Guy has done in the past. So maybe somebody's actually trying to get even with Guy. I have no idea, but I can't wait to find out what's going to happen next. Oh, in fact, we need our next paragraph. So let me go find out what page that's going to come on. We've got this next portion cut down into 2, which is going to, I know we're going to have another just major cliffhanger after our next stop. But let's find out where that's supposed to be. Just a second. So our next magical paragraph will be at 88% of the way through the book. My copy, which is 464 pages of the paperback, will put us on page 411. The digital, which I assume is 480 pages, that should put you around page 422. Again, that'll be 88% of the way through the book. This time it will not have a name at the beginning. This will be a continuation from the previous page. So in parentheses, this will actually be Hugo Fraser speaking. But the line you are going to read and then stop at is, if you ask me, Maura didn't have anything to do with it. ... There's a cliffhanger for you. So, yeah, we've got this much, and then we're going to get to the end, and I want to find out. Okay, because there's, I don't even know. I am loving it, though. So intricate and so many layers. All right, I'm curious to find out who's the dead guy. We don't even have any clue at this point. So when you get to that magical part of the transcript, then you're going to want to close your book and wait until the next video to come out before you proceed any further. as tempted as you may be to keep going, because I really want to keep going. Now, if you have come to these videos later after they have already all been uploaded, then once again, I'm going to ask you to wait at least 24 hours before picking up your book again. Let the story, let everything simmer that's happened, because a lot has happened, and it should really elevate your reading experience, because you'll be like, oh, I want to know. I'll have some time for that anticipation to build. All right. Until the next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye.